Topic of conversation today will be Nick Diaz, man. I want to watch a couple of Nick Diaz mini docs on YouTube. Give the people that don't know who he is an understanding of who he is, what he meant to people like me, being a combat sports fan, what he did for the game, how he offered up his brother the opportunity to have that life, the life that he has now. You know, Nathan's a fucking multi-millionaire and, you know, the foil of one of the biggest upsets in the history of mixed martial arts when he foiled Conor McGregor's party. So all of those things come via Nick Diaz, you know what I mean? And he's not looking good right now. So I want to go through that. I also want to go through that, who he got around him and talk about shit like that. So salutes to y'all. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Hit the like button. People, don't be stingy. Shout out Daniel the Great. People are quick to forget what a great fighter Nick was, a real OG in the game. Yeah, and one of the first originals of the game. One of the first guys that didn't give a f*** and made sure you knew it. And didn't do it to play the badass, but just to get through it. Just getting through life, man. Nick just a dude getting through life, and sometimes it's rough. Nick with Kimbo Slice. Rest in peace, Kimbo Slice. Another person people talk a lot of shit about, but a dude that I believe is the American dream, all right? A dude that fought his way from the backyard literally with his hands and touched the whole world, right? Made it to the UFC and everything. And didn't do it off of just a contract. Went through the competition to get there. The people that don't follow mixed martial arts, I hope we open you guys up to the experience. It's an amazing sport, not just because of the sport itself, but because of the people. Omar Carranza says, it's a shame the commission banned him for a couple years because he tested positive for weed. Wasn't it like 5 years? That, to me, that moment, that 5 years, was what has him in the position he's in today. And we'll get to that. So, yes, in a time where testosterone was legal in mixed martial arts, he was banned 5 years for marijuana. It wasn't because of the marijuana. It's because they didn't like Nick Diaz. I mean, period.
It was the first time I ever saw Nick talk. It was the first fight with Robbie Lawler. Robbie was dangerous. So Nick took that talking to DEFCON 5.
Fighting out of Stockton, California, please welcome Nick Diaz!
And he got into the octagon. And the first thing he does, he gets into the octagon. He looks over at Robbie, he goes, Stockton, motherfucker! Stockton! And he starts walking around, Stockton, mother... And Robbie's like, what the fuck is he talking about?
He's very skilled, and fantastic grappler, unbelievable boxing, insane cardio. He's got all the things that could give a lot of guys problems in the welterweight division.
He's a fascinating guy. I'm fascinated by him. I've been in this business forever. I've been in this business forever. I've dealt with every guy you can possibly deal with. And this kid is fascinating, you know? I don't want to give you a Nick Diaz answer on this one. I want to give you something. You ask him questions, he knows the answer. But fuck you.
I do. This isn't a joke.
That's real shit right there. You ask him a question, he knows the answer, but fuck you.
A staging a little act. This is not for fun.
But fuck you.
I do.
You ask him questions, he knows the answer. But fuck you.
I do. This isn't a joke. I'm not staging a little act. This is not for fun. This is not a side thing. This is all I got. So this is all I got to work with.
Now salutes Nick. Nick's from Stockton, California, 209. And Nick ain't the best communicator, right? He doesn't have the best verbiage. He doesn't have the synapses popping off, getting the words out right. He struggles to find his words. He struggles to find his peace. He struggles to find a lot of things, but he's going to let you know about it. He's going to be honest with you about it as much as he can. He's going to try to deal with it. You know what I mean? It's not a show. I understand authentic people like that. You know what I'm saying? You look at a person like DMX. He barked. Who the fuck you know is going to get away with barking in hip-hop? Especially the hip-hop that we come up from at that time. Why did he get away with it? Because the shit wasn't a gag. The shit was authentic. That's that Nick Diaz shit. That's how I feel about that Nick and Nate Diaz shit.
Brother is responsible for anything I've even done at all. You know, he's the one that is like, it's crazy what he's done and how he did everything because he just knew what he was gonna do.
the guy's still doing triathlons. It's not like a lot of times what happens is when a guy leaves for a while, you know, they don't work out and they don't do anything for a few years. And they might go in the gym and mess around, but they're not training at that level. This kid's a world-class athlete, you know?
When Nick Diaz changed the game in terms of his elite cardio, he did something that was a new thing. And that new thing was, he's not going to hit you with 100% power. He's going to hit you with 50%. But he's going to hit you twice as much, and you're never going to get to breathe. And he's going to stay on top of you, and he's going to talk to you the whole time. So he's going to fuck with you psychologically. He's going to disrupt your breathing by constantly hitting you. And then once he realizes you're hurt, then he's digging to the body. Then he's putting it on you.
Today, we will talk about the older brother of Nate Diaz, who has been in his shadow for a very long time until he became famous thanks to the fight with Conor McGregor. We will recall the path of older Diaz, who made this last...
The superstar that Nathan is today, Nick already was then. The game just wasn't as big as it is today. He was the superstar. He was the guy. Now, we're talking about a guy that's from Stockton that could have chose anything, right? He could have been in a gang. He could have been a hustler. He could have been the leader of a gang. He could have done whatever. The dude chose to stay physically fit and active. You know what I'm saying? The dude chose to run marathons and swim from Alcatraz. He chose to give his brother that same kind of opportunity when he saw his brother sitting around doing nothing.
Name famous all over the world, because it was him who gave the industry of mixed martial arts to incredible fighters, himself and his brother. Together, we will go through all the stages of Nick Diaz's career, who can be rightfully called the godfather of early MMA. Please don't forget about the likes, comments with 4 words, and subscribe to the channel. Here we go.
You know, Nick was one of the first guys that implemented that strategy of cardio. Cardio. See, the jiu-jitsu guys, for those that don't know the history of mixed martial arts, the Gracie family was blessed with Japanese jiu-jitsu. And Helio Gracie transformed that into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right? A technique where the smaller man had an opportunity against the bigger man, given there was no time limit. You know what I'm saying? Gas. They was able to hold you, grapple with you until you no longer had the strength to fight back. Then they choke you out or take your arm, take your leg, whatever, right? And that was the precipice of UFC 1. UFC 1 was basically created as an infomercial to promote Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Gracie classes in California. Now, Nick is a Gracie student. Nick does come from the Gracie school, the Cesar Gracie School of Jiu-Jitsu, right, and grappling, right? But he was the first one to, I believe, to implement that cardio mentality, or the mentality of drowning your opponent in cardio, the way the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys did it. He was the first one to do it with his hands. He was the first one to throw 1,000,000 strikes at you, like Joe Rogan said, throw 1,000,000 strikes at you, some 50%, some 20%, and then crack you with the big boy. And hit you with another 70%, 60%, crack you with the big boy, you know what I'm saying? And drag you in the dark waters and call you a bitch all the way there. I'm trying to put people up on somebody that they probably don't know, right, to understand who he is. Then I can look at his situation right now. Nick was the pioneer of that in mixed martial arts, of just taking you into deep waters where you just couldn't breathe anymore.
Childhood and early years.
Go ahead, talk off me, man. Come on. Nah, it's on you. What are you gonna say?
That's Nathan. That's his younger brother, Nate Diaz, right there. Going to the Ultimate Fighter. The Ultimate Fighter was a competition that the UFC used to have to get a contract with the company. He was in it and he won it.
Come on, you gotta be quick. Think of something. I don't like Nate. What are you gonna say? Come on, you gotta be quick. Think of something. I don't like Nick Diaz. Why don't you like Nick Diaz? He's a dick. What do you gotta say about him? Yeah, he's a crazy motherfucker. He's a crazy motherfucker. You think you can beat his ass? Come on. Nah.
Nicholas Robert Diaz was born on August the 2nd of 1983 in the city of Stockton, California. He has Mexican and English roots. The guy's childhood was rather tough. He has a younger brother Nate and sister Nina, who for the most part were raised by their single mother Melissa, because the father abandoned the family early. It just so happened that the older child chose the sports almost from the very beginning. He was a very quarrelsome kid and often got in different incidents both in school and in the stern streets of Stockton. So, at a very young age, Nick decided to do sports and callous himself both mentally and physically to be able to oppose all challenges which awaited him at every corner. From his early years, Diaz began doing karate and aikido and also participated in wrestling competitions when he was a teenager.
I mean, karate, they teach you some good basic shit, you know? They teach you how to have a strong stance. They teach you little blocking, that you're supposed to block even, or, you know, they're having you break shit, hit shit, make noises when you hit.
Mind you, he's being sarcastic about karate right there. Right, to make you hit shit, break shit, make noises when you hit. Shout out Vicente. No, not Nina Drama, bro. Nina Diaz. Nina Diaz will probably beat the shit out of Nina Drama, but salute to Nina Drama. I'm a fan.
Yeah, that's crazy. That teaches you how to hit. And then people when they're 20, they try to do that, and they can't do it now. But the other people when they're like, they did a little bit of karate when they were a kid, now they can just do that. They just go right back to it. Yeah, I've done this before. I'm like, it's like, you know.
Besides that, he attended Tokai School in the city of Lodi, California, but dropped out in less than a year. Overall, this guy did not really get along with educational facilities from the very beginning, mostly because it was influenced by his environment. Diaz brothers were surrounded by hooligans, simply speaking, and to adapt to a hostile environment, they had to wear a mask of the same hooligans to oppose evil, as smugly as it may sound.
Like a hardcore guy when I'm not so hardcore in a hardcore school. So it was just no fitting in anywhere. What happened was, you know, I'd end up in these confrontations all the time because I was gonna fight with this kid, and all his friends were like, "Hey, well, you're gonna fight this guy. You're gonna fight. You're gonna fight Justin. You know, you're gonna." And I'd be like, "Hey, f you." You know what I mean? Because they think it's funny, or they're talking, or someone will come up and be like, "Yeah, you're gonna fight Justin Acello. He's gonna whoop your ass." And I'd be like, "Yeah, f you, I'm gonna whoop your ass." And then next thing you know, oh, you f that dude, you mess with that dude, now you're gonna, this is so-and-so, so now I got problems with this dude, I got problems with this dude. So I'm just, high school was hard time. High school was hard times.
During his first year in college, our hero added swimming to his activities and became a member of one of the local teams. On top of that, he started training Sambo under the supervision of the champion of Bulgaria, Valery Ignatov. Around that time, his desire to grow and get better in this discipline motivated him to put his sights on the ground game aspects. After watching one of Renzo Gracie's performances in the legendary Pride, Nick got...
Shit. Carlos Newton and Renzo Gracie, that's
After watching one of Renzo Gracie's performances in the legendary Pride, Nick got inspired to try himself in the mixed style. He began training under the supervision of Steve Heath in the Animal House Gym before he joined the team of the Great Gracie clan.
Immediately they consider me dangerous. They're like, you've hit this guy and you drew blood from him and you cut him and you are dangerous and we can't have you on campus. And I'm like, I was attacked, and that's all I can think about. Like, I didn't even start this,
The sport helped Nick Diaz not only to strengthen his body and mind and give him an ability to stand up for himself, but also get distracted from the nasty and toxic environment which was constantly testing him. Mixed martial arts were hardening the spirit of the young Stocktonian who learned a simple truth from childhood. Nobody was going to save him, and only he could be responsible for his future life and its direction.
That's it. That changed a person right there. To know that you are by your lonesome. And he knew it. I want you to consider something. Throughout all of this turmoil that he's going through in school and having to fight dudes and no drinking, no heavy drugs, just bud and running. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Now, I'm looking for a linchpin. I'm looking for the moment where that changed. All right? I'm looking for the moment that changed. The moment that he was no longer straight edge Nick Diaz. because I feel like that changed everything.
It was easy to go with the flow, deal with the bad company, and truly become a regular hooligan upstart with criminal tendencies, and there were a lot of such in Stockton of that period, and even now, but our hero was resisting that. He figured that he was destined to become a fighter from his childhood. He was left with nothing but a day-to-day struggle, and he needed to keep fighting no matter what. Especially given the fact that the sport with total commitment provides big prospects, and big prospects will inevitably lead the dedicated person to great heights. Perhaps Nick did not realize all of that the way we word it right now, but subconsciously his body and spirit were striving to self-fulfillment through martial arts, and he didn't need anything else at that point in time.
He was always told he wasn't good enough. He was always told he's not going to make it. He was always told you don't belong here, and you know, you're not one of these rich kids.
That video right there, I watched that dude. I don't even remember how many minutes it was, but dude went crazy on that bag for a very long time.
And you know, when he fights, I think he does bring some of that back. And unfortunately for his adversary, that's where that energy goes.
Nick Diaz did not know what a good life was. As well as his family, his mother worked 3 jobs to barely have an opportunity to feed 3 children. His brother and sister were...
Bro, look at Nate's face. Nate looked like he want to fight you too. Classic.
Were going with the flow and growing up in a dangerous environment which wanted to hurt them at every step. Overall, there weren't a lot of good things. That's why he didn't even hesitate when choosing the discipline which eventually was supposed to bring order in his life. He wasn't bothered with existential and philosophical questions, why is it happening to me, and stuff like that. Our hero simply accepted the cards he was dealt from childhood and moved in the direction of what promised to improve his life and existence of his close ones.
In order to love fighting, I have to hate it. There is no loving this without hate. You gotta love it, so you want it so bad that you're pushing yourself to those limits to where you just simply hate it. And if you ain't there to where you hate it, then good luck trying to love this.
After countless hours in the gym,
he reminds me of Old Dirty Bastard in a lot of ways. There's a freestyle that Old Dirty Bastard standing in a cypher. I think Busta Rhymes is there. Dirty spitting. And if you're a layman and you don't understand bars, you don't understand MCs, you don't understand lyrics, you'll mistake Dirty for a fool. When the shit that he said in that rhyme was phenomenal, mathematical, scientific, all of the above as far as a rhyme goes. And you just can't see the genius in it. Never mistake Old Dirty Bastard for a fool. And that's how I felt about Nick. People thought Nick would just ramble and talk and he couldn't eloquently express himself. But in reality, he was saying profound shit. Same with Mike Tyson. See, they're like these commenters, and that's what annoys me about them, because people have been doing this type of shit for so long. You know what I'm saying? People will, and this is hundreds of years. You got goofballs like the people in the comments that'll make fun of the voice of a Mike Tyson and end up enjoying themselves because they took the low-hanging fruit, the easy joke, the easy laugh, right? And then they missed the profound sentiment in what he's saying. And they still think they're bigger than or better than the person who actually did get the profound out of what the man was saying and didn't get himself hung up on his fucking voice. So I look at these people as mouth-breathing buffoons, clowns, goofballs. It just be like that.
21 years ago when I had Nick in my class. It's just the way he was. Nick was Nick, and Nick was going to do what he was going to do.
On, take a look at that picture. That not a born fighter or what? But look at that picture. That authenticity or not? Huh? A dude that came up, that little kid grew up to be a legend, a god in the fight sports. But look at him. Was that not something that might have been meant for him from then? This is during the drama. But yeah, that looked like destiny to me. He needed to have this attitude to survive what he was about to survive. I believe that.
If he felt like doing that at that moment, that's what he was going to do.
I pulled the fire alarm in her class. I don't know why I did that. I was standing by and I was screwing with it, and I knew it was a fire alarm or something. You know, I was in second grade. It just didn't really understand how the fire alarm worked, you know, because I would kind of mess with it, and then I think I kind of started, I didn't mean to pull the fire alarm, but I was screwing with it too much. And I ended up pulling it, and I was like, oh no, I did not just do that. And then, like, I was the only one standing there. I'm like, it went down. I was like, and she's like, you pulled it. And I was like, oh, it was bad.
It didn't surprise me. It was like, oh, Nick. Since all of this, I looked on YouTube and I've seen some videos of him because I haven't seen him since he was a kid. He's the exact same. He doesn't make eye contact. He talks very slow and deliberate. Takes a breath between words. I mean, when I saw him on that video, he was the exact same kid.
Already.
He doesn't do MMA to be popular. Nick doesn't do MMA to get a pat on the back. Nick doesn't train and fight to get people's approval. Nick does it to survive because he knows this is his one shot.
He took it. Not only did he take it,
he's had everything.
Not only
that
did
the
he
world
take
can
it, he
throw
took
at
it
him.
and he took
He
his
is
brother
not
with him.
easily intimidated. He's had everything that the world can throw at him. He is not easily intimidated, and you can't break Nick Diaz. Sometimes he gets upset. When you ask me why he gets upset, it's his inability to express himself verbally. That's why he's a fighter. But when he gets in that ring, he's a poet. He's a poet in motion.
You know, people look at them now. People look at what Nate Diaz did with, what's that Jake Paul kid, right? And they look at him, they say, nah. I'll say this, man. A Nick Diaz and a Nate Diaz, on point. All systems go. All cylinders running. I put them up against anybody, man. When those guys show up, they do what Nate did to Cowboy Cerrone. They do what Nate did to Takanori Gomi. They do what Nick did to Takanori Gomi. So when you get those nights, you get the Nick Diaz that beat, what was the British kid? Can't remember his name right now. You get those nights out of those guys, they're perfect fighters. She said that's so sad at that age where all kids are just trying to fit in, and all that time he felt like an outcast. That's some lifetime trauma. He used fighting to channel it. Zoraida, something bad would have happened to that boy if he didn't fight. And I'm convinced something bad would have happened to Nathan if he didn't fight. And that family pulled that out, and made it happen. Those two brothers made it happen. They don't need for shit no more, except for a little peace. And I don't know that, that could just happen like that. It took Mike a long time. Nick is in a bad situation now that we'll get to. It's crazy. We'll see. And speaking to that, Zoraida, I want to show you a cut of him, a clip of Nate having an exchange with George St. Pierre in a press conference. Because it was like Nick, the soft gangster, the nice guy that's gonna give an old lady his seat, but ain't gonna take your shit, right? I can relate to that. So, and then there was the super soft guy, which was George St. Pierre. So George St. Pierre made the mistake of saying he felt like Nick was trying to bully him, like the dudes that used to bully him, and Nick took offense to that. Like, how dare you call me a motherfucking bully? You don't know what being bullied is. Have you ever had a hammer put to your head? So it gets that deep with him. And which is why it's sad for me to see where he's at, because I already saw the kind of turmoil he was in his regular life when he was sober and clean. What's been happening to him for the last 10 years is sad and disappointing.
Nick would take on anybody and anything at any time, You didn't get the best yet. Tomorrow, you better be ready to do it again. He had some behavior problems, and also he had some gang problems. Gangs were trying to recruit him because he had a reputation of being tough, and the gangs wanted to have him join up. He wanted to better himself. I could see that. When he didn't do his work, he'd have to do a few push-ups. Okay, you didn't do your homework? 25, give me 25. Let's do it.
I wrestled when I was like 14, 13 in a park and rec thing. I was cutting weight for that because I was like 2 pounds over and I wanted to make the weight, you know.
And
I was like, okay, I can do that. So I made weight.
You got an athlete for a son, you know what I'm saying? That right there is a different thing in itself, a different way to channel whatever you can channel. But it's also another pressure, another thing, you know what I'm saying? It's a different life. But if it works for them, it works for them. I believe Floyd Mayweather, Nick Diaz, a lot of these guys would have just had a horrible life if they didn't fight.
That was probably the first time I ever made weight for something. I must have been like 14 or 15. It was a wrestling tournament. I got pinned by some dude with his older brothers were there. They were like pinning me real quick. You know what I mean? His brothers were there. They're like, man, you animal. They're like, and I was just like, oh man, I was like crying or something. I was like, not there, but I was like, had to take a walk. I was angry. You know, wrestling was not working out well for me. I mean, I liked wrestling. I wanted to be good at it. I just was having a hard time learning. I watched the UFCs. I ran into the tapes. I saw Gracie. I said I could do this. I started doing jiu-jitsu somewhere when I was like 15, 16, sophomore year, high school. And that's when I met Steve Heath.
I noticed immediately, I teach a move, he'd do it right the first time. Taught him the same move, he'd do it better the second time. By the third time, he did better than me.
And I'm training with Steve every day for months, and then I finally realized that he learned from Cesar Gracie. And I'm like, who's Cesar Gracie? And I'm like, you're telling me, like, there's cousins and, like, you know, I'm trying to figure out the whole family tree thing.
When I first met Nick, he was a guy that, was hanging out with the wrong crowd.
For those that don't know, when he refers to the family thing, like, what is this, a family thing? There's cousins? Again, the Gracie family from Brazil. Gracie family, I believe, of Scottish and Brazilian descent. Gracie family was blessed with Japanese jiu-jitsu from Count Koma, as they were the family that took care of him while he was in Brazil. He blessed them with Japanese jiu-jitsu. Elio and his brothers, you know, they changed it and adapted it for their style. Boom, created Brazilian jiu-jitsu, then created the UFC, and put in the runt of the litter to fight in UFC 1, and he won the whole thing. That was the game. That was the mission. The mission was to promote this. So at this time, Nick knows of Royce Gracie, you know, but then he hears about Cesar Gracie and he's like, who's this? What, they got cousins? There's other Gracies out here? They're all official?
Jiu-jitsu offered him an avenue to look at the world in a different way. He didn't relate well in school because they tell you you're going to do this homework, you're going to learn it the way we're going to teach you, and that's how you're going to do it or you're going to fail. And with martial arts, it was something that he could do his way.
He would start coming in every day. I asked him, I said, hey, aren't you supposed to be in school? And he goes, I'd rather come here and train. You know, I have no interest in school.
In order to love fighting, I have to hate it. There's no love in this without hate. You gotta love it so you want it so bad that you're pushing yourself to those limits to where you just simply hate it. And if you ain't there to where you hate it, then good luck trying to love this.
You know, what you see is what you get. I'm not out here trying to put on an act like I'm crazy. In my opinion, everybody else is crazy out of their mind. They're the ones putting on an act for you. The camera gives them a line and they say it 10 times over again, and they turn these guys into these robots. I'm the only one being realistic about this sort of thing. People want to call me a crazy guy and point the finger and tell me I rant and rave. I feel you. I'm not out here staging anything. I'm trying to get through this. You know, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to survive and keep my teeth in my head and my head on my shoulders.
This isn't a joke. I'm not staging a little act. This is not for fun. This is not a side thing. This is fighting. I don't think that the fans out there, the viewers, need to see anything more than what I'm bringing to the table. This is as real as it gets. I'm not gonna smile for the camera. That would be crazy to start believing in myself and thinking, oh yeah, I'm the biggest part of the show and all happy me and everybody loves me and I'm the superstar. That's crazy. That's some right there. That's the last thing I'm gonna believe. All I'm gonna believe is I'm coming to whoop somebody's ass. What are these? Who makes these questions up? These questions are... Seriously? This is not, like, what are these? These are all tricks. This is all, like... I'm low on water, I'm low on calories, I'm low on food, I'm low on energy, and I'm more so than anything low on patience with anything that takes patience. If you ask me something stupid, then I'm gonna answer it with something stupid, and if I hear myself talk something stupid and I'm really pissed off, depressed, and bent out of shape about it, I might throw a fucking really serious fit for no fucking reason.
You gotta fucking love Nick Diaz, bro.
We never know what's going to happen, but if you had a perfect fight, what would it be?
A gentleman never tells.
Oh, here it is.
Never tells. No.
Say what you. If I want to say fuck you, and look at you to your face and say, hey, fuck your mother, then that's I can do that. See, I don't have to worry about like what am I, being a good role model.
That's why. There's more money in boxing, even if you're boxing inside of MMA. Even if you're a boxer in MMA, there's more money in boxing. Even if you boxing out there, as in the UFC. See what I mean?
I told him to go. He said, no, I gotta wait for Heather. I can't. I'd be in so much trouble if I...
Fuck, watch out.
He's waiting for his baby girl.
Frank's too small for this weight class.
That was when he fought a legend. He fought Frank Shamrock, and he told Frank Shamrock he was too small for the weight class.
Frank's too small for this weight class. He's got a little guy complex.
He's smaller than I am. He likes to kind of walk around and smile. He could get punched in your mouth like that, dude.
I don't appreciate the way he promotes MMA.
You think I give a shit about any of this? Don't with me, get in my face, get slapped. Dude.
He slaps like a girl.
I've never hit Frank Shamrock, so I don't know how he knows that. That's stupid.
People are gonna say what they will about me, but I kind of got to do what I got to do.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how people think about you. I get emails and stuff, and just weird letters, and I'm just like, why am I even reading this?
So that's why Anderson Silva, he's important. And that's why I'm important now, because people, they want to see action. They don't, and they know who's going to bring that action to the table. They know who's going to bring the real fights.
Who's the better fighter between you guys?
That's a stupid question.
He asked him, who's the better fighter between you and your brother? He took offense to that shit.
The real fights.
Who's the better fighter between you guys?
That's a stupid question, dude. Yeah, we're both different fighters. We're different weights, He's my brother. I mean, like who would win? And it's like, okay, why, or what? Like, that's stupid, You're gonna ask me that?
And they just said, they're like, hey, sorry, Connor, but Kavanaugh's not gonna be able to be in your corner today. Kavanaugh, sorry, no Kavanaugh in your corner. Is that, how do you feel about that? You're gonna cry yourself to sleep? No.
Nah, he's talking there about when they gave him the 5-year suspension, and they pulled him from his brother's corner. During his, I believe it was before his Conor McGregor fight. Before Nate's Conor McGregor fight, his brother couldn't corner him because of a weed violation. And he's saying that would never fly for Conor. You'd never see his coach just get pulled out the corner.
Or maybe, you never know. But that's kind of how they did my brother.
When I didn't know that, but when I got started, I didn't realize what I was saying, and things I was saying, and how I was going to come off. I get kids, like 3-year-old kids, putting middle fingers out, and I'm going like, man, it's not what I was aiming, Then I get people hating me, and I'm like, this, it's really not what I was aiming to do.
I hope so, motherfucker. If I had that much money, I'd be fucking pampering myself the fuck up. I'd be having motherfuckers pampering my shit left and fucking right. There'd be motherfuckers every hour on hour showing up to pamper me out. period.
Yeah.
If I had that sort of investment to make, that'd be that.
It was good. Boop, boop, boop. You came forward. You didn't stop. I don't think.
Welcome back, and I can't wait to see you fight for the title.
What's up, Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
You can't remember what, Pete? Who Nick fought? Shit, his second fight was, I think, Jeremy Jackson. That's his second fight. He fought Josh Neer. He fought Diego Sanchez. He fought, man, what's the British dude? Also help me, man. He was a boxer. He fought Cyborg Santos. Put him through the fucking paces. Made him a wrestler, and then did the same shit to him that Nathan did to Conor. He fought BJ Penn. He fought Anderson Silva. Passes. He fought Carlos Condit. Robbie Lawler twice. No, Nick fought some motherfuckers. Shout out Vernon Himes. I disagree. George is the GOAT behind John Jones. Yeah, but I still believe Nick could have beat him. If a prime, peaceful Nick, without the bullshit, he could have fought him. Lost against Diego Sanchez, yeah. He did take that loss. I'm not saying he was a perfect fighter. I'm saying that in that peak, in that moment, just like how Rogan says about BJ, in BJ's Marinovich days, there was nobody going to stop him. I believe if in that era, George could have got it too. Matt Serra that shit wasn't a hoax. He caught him on the chin. His chin gave out. That's the game, right? We know they're not hoaxes because Conor did that shit to Aldo. And Aldo, we know Aldo's a legend. He ain't just no one-punch punk. He got caught. His chin gave out. So they ain't perfect fighters. And a perfect record in MMA ain't easy. That's why only one guy got one. Only one guy. Just John. Right? And that shit got asterisks sprayed all over it. Sanchez would have been a monster, but didn't have it upstairs. But that's what I'm saying. Like I said, sometimes Nick and them didn't have it upstairs. Artar undefeated, retired undefeated. Khabib retired undefeated. But I put Khabib's record into question. You know what I'm saying? Like, John fought more people than Khabib. Like, I think Nick, when he fought Buddy in Strikeforce and Cyborg in Strikeforce, I think he could have done something with George St. Pierre. By the time he got to the UFC, he was already disenchanted with the game, with life, with all of it. And then when the suspension happened and then he started drinking, that's when shit went left.
My brother's the most important thing to me. Probably more important than anything. A lot of time it's why I have to push forward and do so good, because I can't, there's been a lot less pressure on me if I didn't have a younger brother. I'm happy I do. I'm happy I do have a younger brother. I have a great younger brother and training partner. And I'm really grateful and thankful for that.
First thing
Hell nah, Pete. Penn did not beat Nick. Penn took a 5-round beating from Nick. A horrible beating. A beating that Nick did not want to give BJ Penn. You know what I mean? A beating that Nick was against giving BJ Penn. And BJ wouldn't go down because it's not what he do. You know what I'm saying? What he say? Birds fly, fish swim, and he scraps. But I think that was his peak, Vernon, the Strikeforce days. I think that was his peak. I think right then and there in that place, he was unstoppable at that point. It was like John in the sense that he might not look good for the whole fight, because that happens to Nathan too. But as we know with the both of them, they're never out of the fight. But in those Strikeforce days, he would you see him figure it out. He'd just pressure you to death and you'd melt.
First thing he does, he gets into the octagon. He looks over at Robbie. He goes, "Stockton, motherfucker! Stockton!" And he starts walking around, "Stockton, mother..." And Robbie's like, "What the fuck is he talking about?
What does that even mean?" Yeah, exactly.
And then the entire time the fight is going on, like, "What, bitch? What you gonna do, bitch? What you gonna do, bitch?" And then he'd hit him. "Oh, bitch, I just stung you, bitch." And he'd be popping him. And every time Robbie Lawler didn't talk back to him, but you could clearly see he didn't anticipate that.
But stylistically, I kind of fit with the cannabis
lifestyle, at least my lifestyle anyways, kind of fits with it. I think that you can go ahead and use it to apply it to anything that you can make use of it. Like, you know, sometimes I'm starving, I can't eat any food, I gotta make weight. If I can smoke weed, that's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's like, you know, steak and potatoes.
That's ridiculous. I never did start.
This is after they suspended him right here. Shout out P. Robbie fought everyone twice. You know what I'm saying? Robbie fought everybody twice, and I love Robbie. Robbie and Rory McDonald gave me the greatest moment of 2014 combat sports when they stood there staring at each other at the 4th round of that war. And Robbie's lip is ripped from here to here, and Rory McDonald's nose is mangled. The high drama in mixed martial arts got boxing beat 100 times for the last 10, 15 years. It's just a fact. I just wish I could put you hardcores up on it so you could see what I see. You know what I mean? Nick hated doing media. In fact, he did. Definitely did. Strikeforce. Strikeforce was a good time, man.
Steroids in my life. That's another thing I'll tell you right now.
So this is when they popped him for the bud, and they gave him 5 years. Understand what I'm telling you. At this time, testosterone was legal. You can get testosterone replacement therapy as a mixed martial artist in the UFC at this time, legally. Right? And if your levels was too high, whatever, too low, whatever, they pop you one fight, couple of weeks, whatever. They gave this fool 5 years for weed. What the fuck is that? 5 years.
That's ridiculous. I never did steroids in my life. That's another thing I'll tell you right now. I know all the fighters, and they're all on steroids. All you motherfuckers are on steroids. All you motherfuckers, all you're on steroids. I already know that.
To kind of lift some of the negative stigma away.
Definitely breaking the stereotype.
What's going on here? You know, like I'm a professional athlete and I don't do drugs.
Exactly.
You know, I just weed. Me at a stoplight, and she's going, I hope TSP beats her. I'm like, bitch, we're in Lodi. I'm like, we're in fucking Lodi, and I got a soccer mom coming up hoping I'm like, where's the hometown love, right? So, yeah, it was rough, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm not a good role model for your children. They never gave me the opportunity to be.
I get no sleep. I got to train all day long. I got to be out all night long to make ends meet. And now I got to answer the door, take a piss for some stupid ass shit.
I'm catching a little bit of heat from like other fighters. Oh, weed is bad. I'm like, look, just because you have kids and stuff like that and you're invested in all that, that's fine. But I fight, you know, I got in trouble for plenty of weed. I like to smoke weed anyways. And they're mad that I'm always, you know, rubbing it in their face that I smoke weed or something. And I'm like, well.
No, he's just been honest about it. I feel like that's why they gave him the 5 years. He fought Takanori. Was it Takanori Gomi? Yeah, he fought Takanori Gomi in. Was it Pride? Was it like a U.S. Pride event? Or a U.S. Glory event? One of those where, I think it was a Pride event. It was a U.S. Pride event, something like that. He fought Takanori Gomi. He was high. Gomi bloodied his face up, cut him. And somehow, Nick figured out how to put him in an omoplata or a gogoplata, which is a crazy choke with your feet up under somebody's chin and on their neck. It's bananas. And, he got that, and he won that fight, and then they overturned his victory and said he had so much weed in his system, he had to be high when he was in the cage. Okay, so what? You know what I'm saying? So what? A little bit of bud. Yeah, that's what it was. Shout out Popeye the Stoner. He beat Takanori with a really nice submission. It was a gogoplata, if I recall. All right? Shout out Oso. He said it was a Pride event. Salute. Yeah, it was a Pride event, but it was held here. Yeah, but this Pride event was held here. Might have been in Vegas. Pride was mostly in Japan, but this was, I believe, the only American show. And again, Vitor on testosterone at this same time that Nick is going through this 5-year ban. There's a bunch of guys that are getting exemptions in the UFC to use roids, to use steroids. But this kid gets 5 years, right? They fought that 5 years, and that shit knocked the wind out of him. He didn't fight in that 5 years anyway. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to try to find out if I'm wrong. I think Ronda Rousey got Nick Diaz to have his first drink. That's what I want to find out. That's what I want to see. I mean, I'm sure he's drank before, but I'm saying, or maybe he didn't. But that, to me, he ain't been the same since that day. You know what I mean?
And they're mad that I'm always, rubbing it in their face that I smoke weed or something. And I'm like, well, you rub it in my face that you don't. So what? You can't beat me in a fight. That's all I have to worry about.
Macaroni and cheese and hot dogs.
Hot dogs, right? yeah. I was like basically like top ramen. Yeah.
Hot dogs, mac and cheese.
I don't have much to say,
Something against me? Do you not like me, Nick?
I feel like you instigate fights quite a bit, but that's
fights between the fighters.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's your job, but where I come from, people like that get slapped.
I had people come up to me and try to shake my hand and smile at me, and they try to wish me good luck. Why are you gonna have good luck for why are you gonna say like good luck to me? I'm gonna come, and try to wreck you tomorrow, and then you're gonna do me, and it's just not. I don't want you to have good luck, dude.
I go running all the time around my neighborhood, out of the bad neighborhood and into a good neighborhood where I like to run. I run by hundreds of these nice, huge houses with these big yards and fountains everywhere, and these people have like their little picnic patio, little side yard, little pool, all this stuff, right? And then I take a little circle around and then go back into my neighborhood where my car gets robbed, and I got some, dude out front of my house looking for cigarette butts or something from, where some friends might have left some, or it's. It's ridiculous.
It was announced, thought there would be some trash talking, but he said very nice things about you, and you seem to have respect for him. Is that the case?
Well, you're the only one that started any talking about this fight. That's what I'm saying.
I get off the plane, I go right to In-N-Out Burger. And the last thing I do while I'm in town is I stop at In-N-Out Burger. That stuff is like crack for me. I gotta have it.
Think about that, man. Anthony Bourdain wanted to go sit down with the Scrap Pack. Gilbert Melendez, Nate Diaz, and Nick Diaz.
Oh, that's so good.
I don't know how to go buy in a house in the middle of all this training. I didn't go to school for that, I started training jiu-jitsu when I was 16 years old.
I can play that game too. I can do that too, but I gotta go home to a whole city of people are gonna go, what the hell was that? So I gotta just keep it real.
Remember when Rogan said, first thing he said to Robbie when he got in the cage was Stockton, motherfucker?
That's the city of people are gonna go, what the hell was that?
This shit.
So I gotta just keep it real.
Shout out Brandon Himes. He said Nate beat Takanori Gomi in the UFC. Beat the shit out of Takanori Gomi. Nate was a precision sniper rifle that night. Those nights, nobody could beat the Diaz brothers.
And then I started having real confidence when I was like, I'd come home to my friends, I'm like, yo, dude, I just tapped out this guy. He's like buff, I'm like, dude, I would choke your dad. You don't understand. And they would be like, that's when I was infatuated.
Like, I would choke your dad?
Yeah, we're 14.
Yeah, I'll fuck your dad up.
Yeah, I'll fucking whoop your dad's ass. And it's not, they're selling you all wolf tickets, people. You're eating them right up. George here is selling you wolf tickets. Dana here, he's selling you wolf tickets. The UFC is selling you some wolf tickets. You guys are eating them right up.
Where you at, George? Where you at? I don't think George is hurt. I think he's scared. What's up? Where you at, George?
Right after the fight, I begged Dana and Lorenzo to fight Nick Diaz, and I would not have let it go until they would have given it to me. It's the first time that I asked them. I was begging them, like, give me that fight,
How many times you had a gun to your head, George? How many times did someone put a gun to your head? How many of your best friends been shot through the chest with a 45? Or how many of your best friends been stomped, put to sleep into a coma? And, we all have to deal with these things in life. How many kids put a gun in your hair growing up? Like, should I go further back? We have to deal with these things. It's hard times for everybody.
Thank you so much for the time. A pleasure as always to see you, Nick, and we'll leave.
Shout out William Borden. Can't forget the Stockton slap. For those that don't know, the Diaz brothers in many instances in the middle of a fight will slap the shit out of their opponent. Just to get the point across. That I will slap the shit out of you.
And I know a lot of people are happy to see you again. Congrats to both you and your brother and the rest of the team.
Yeah, it's made me look real bad in every possible way. Except for, in a fighter's perspective, I intimidate out of people. That's a good thing, right? You motherfuckers are scared, aren't you? I bet you are, because my up. You know what I mean? I'm over here with a bad attitude every day, you know, and it's real and, you know. And
is the attitude
around,
real?
What the why, you know, I wouldn't be complaining about it if it wasn't. You know, now I'm all up. Thank you very much. I already been, everybody knows that. I'm the only person in this sport, for the most part, that ain't on steroids. Now that there's new rules in effect, yeah, you got guys that they're not on steroids right now, but they used to be.
Dab, dab, Junior, dab.
Hallucinate or something.
Let's do it, bro.
Like, what am I doing here? What the fuck am I doing here? Here, give me that.
Yeah, go for it.
What is this?
There it is.
Wow.
A couple years ago, he fought Robbie Lawler for the second time. It's just a short 20 years since Nick Diaz KO'd Robbie Lawler.
And again, that could be because he's got experience. Right when I said combination. Diaz knocks down Robbie Lawler.
Little, short, little.
And it's all over. Nick Diaz has knocked.
And Robbie's no pushover. For those that know mixed martial arts, Robbie is no punk. Never has been.
Robbie doesn't want to accept it. He doesn't want to accept it, but it is over. They are unbelievable. Here at Mandalay Bay. Unbelievable performance. Nick Diaz has pulled off the unexpected.
This is an exchange that I put up in the Discord earlier. This is, I don't know, 16, 17 years later after they fought. They had a rematch of that fight. It was a comeback fight for Nick. It was after the 5 years of them suspending him. Nick was coming back to the UFC. He didn't even understand why they gave him this fight. He's like, I already beat this guy. Knocked him out. There's no disrespect to Robbie, but he beat him. What do I prove letting him beat me this time? This was more for Robbie than it was for Nick. And this is after Robbie had his UFC championship reign in the UFC, because eventually Robbie did get to a UFC title. Nick looked horrible in this fight. And he didn't have the cardio that he used to have. And he didn't have the pop that he used to have. He didn't have the movement that he used to have. It was sad to see. Looked like he didn't want to be there. Looked like he was just trying to give it a shot. It's again after the 5 years of suspension that he didn't, even if it got overturned after 3 years, he didn't fight for those 5 years anyway. It just threw him off. One of those moments that I feel like Muhammad Ali had. I feel like Muhammad Ali's life might have been different had they not taken 3 years of boxing away for him not going to Vietnam. I feel like he would have had a different life. I feel like he took more damage. I feel like we would have saw less rope-a-dope style, less him getting punished. He would have fought less fights. He would have quit earlier in his career, quite possibly. Robbie whooped Nick's ass. Nick didn't want no more. And Robbie was legit concerned with Nick's well-being, not just in the cage, but outside of the cage. Check this out. So Robbie asked him if he was okay, and Nick was like, yeah, I'm good. He was like, in life. He's like, because that's different. He's like, and let me know if I can help you. Like, he has legit concern for Nick at this time, and Nick never fought after this. Now, every now and then we hear, oh, Nick is training. Nick looks good. He got six-pack. Because for a while we would see him in street fights, in the clubs, and bullshit. Now, during all this time, his brother's fame is just skyrocketing. His brother's catching checks everywhere he can catch checks. And Nick wasn't fighting. But every time we'd hear Nick training, I'd go look at Nick's page, see him in the gym, and say, well, because usually I'm like, I don't want to see him fight no more. I don't want to see him take no more punishment, that's for sure. BJ, same thing, don't want to see him take no more punishment. But then it wouldn't happen. And this time they said, okay, he's going to fight Vicente Luque. I said, damn, they're going to put him against Vicente Luque? See, the UFC is not like boxing, bro. I'm sorry. There's no such thing as a warm-up fight or knock the cobwebs off, get the ring rust off you fight. None of that shit. You get thrown to the fucking wolves in MMA. You get thrown to the wolves. No easy fight. Not gonna happen. If you come in, you CM Punk, you the wrestler guy, we're going to go find the youngest teenagest killer we can find to destroy you. But there's no free rides in the UFC. It just doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Their welcoming party is an unwelcoming committee. Facts. So that's why you get fights like Vicente Lucas versus Nick Diaz. Now, I had seen Nick Diaz training and jumping rope and doing his thing, and he was looking good. All right, cool. And then a couple of days later, I just saw something that didn't look right. Now, there's another story that that I have to bring into this. And I'd agree that maybe Zoraida and Pete and y'all would agree that it's an important part of his life, okay? Because, again, we've scrambled through his life in different little stages and shit. But he had one major event that affected his life that he talked about.
I'd like to dedicate this performance to a few friends of mine that passed away. First off, a special girl, very special girl in my life, named Stephanie Wise. Okay.
She had walked and killed herself on the freeway. The girl I love more than anything had tried to kill herself for the third time and succeeded.
To me, the death of Stephanie Wise was another monumental moment in the life and psyche of Nick Diaz. Pivotal.
I'd like to say I remind him of the bullies that picked on him growing up or they had to deal with. You know, I want to say, like, how many times you had a gun to your head, George? How many times someone put a gun to your head? How many of your best friends been shot through the chest with a 45? Or how many of your best friends been stomped, put to sleep into a coma? And you know, we all had to deal with these things in life. How many kids put gum in your hair growing up? Like, should I go further back? I mean, we have to deal with these things. You know, it's hard times for everybody, and a lot of times this is what makes us fighters. And
AKA, I was bullied too, motherfucker. Don't pull that bully shit on me.
It wasn't for that. I hate everybody pulling the bully card. All bullies, I hate bullies. You know, I doubt he was ever a hopeless person. And you know, if it wasn't for what I went through, I wouldn't. Who knows if I would have made it.
They set him up to fight Vicente Luque. And then I was excited, but not so much. I was like, it's a death match. You know what I'm saying? There's another little clip that I wanted y'all to see. Him being frustrated with his brother being a 170-pounder.
My brother fights in the same weight as me, so it's kind of like, it's kind of tough, you know, because I don't want to get in his way, and he gets in my way, and then I get in his way, and I'm like, yo, bro, like, what, you know, I'm like, yeah, take the whole damn thing, please, because that's what I wanted for you, was to be okay.
Did Nate take the whole damn thing or what? He did it, man. Salute to Nathan Diaz, man. The opportunity arises, you got to show up for that shit. And he did. He made a star out of himself, you know? So salute to Nathan Diaz. He could have been in the shadow of his big brother for the rest of his life. And that's it right there, Jonathan. Mental health is real. He said, come on, man, you in my way, I'm in your way, man. Just take the whole thing. That's what I wanted for you anyway. Well, Nate took the whole thing.
Hey, take the whole damn thing, please, because that's what I wanted for you, was to be okay, you know? So
JS, that's
really
what I'm trying to get to the bottom of here. Hold on, JS. That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of here. I'm looking for that moment, and I believe it might be Ronda Rousey too. He said, let's be honest, Ronda Rousey destroyed Nick's career. Mind you, his career was already in the shit because of the suspension, right? That was for the weed. But his life went left once he started drinking. I felt like the things he found solace in, he didn't find solace in them anymore. In the beef and in mixed martial arts and in the gym, like I feel like he didn't find it there no more. Now he was looking for it in the club. Let's be honest, Ronda Rousey destroyed Nick's career. He's never touched alcohol before meeting Ronda. She pushed him to alcohol. I feel like that's what I remember too, though. I just want to be sure, and I want to go check this shit out because I remember hearing it said, seeing it, all of that shit.
A very strange and bizarre video has surfaced recently of a supposed Nick Diaz on the side of the road crouched over with no shirt on lighting something on fire. This weird behavior was filmed by Nick's girlfriend and posted on her story on Instagram with a post that reads, drug addiction doesn't last forever. You either find sobriety or it takes your life.
Yeah, but why you posting it? Same kind of bitch that take pictures of motherfuckers while they sleep. Some of you motherfuckers should have never had phones, ever. Should never had technology. Because nothing is sacred anymore. thank you. I was just thinking the same ish. Why is she posting it? You can't put someone on blast and say you love or even care about them. Like, yeah, I don't get that. Especially knowing he's famous. What are you doing that for? And then writing this shit. Drug addiction doesn't last forever. You either find sobriety or it takes your life. You just sound like a bum-ass, quotable-ass, mean quotable-ass bitch. And who knows what he's doing. She just could have painted a picture of what it looks like. You know what I mean? I don't know what he's doing. He's burning up something over there. He's doing something. Listen, it's Nick Diaz. For all we know, he's lighting an incense. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Either find sobriety or it takes your life. Here's the video in question.
Nick.
What? What are you doing?
Are you okay?
What's that for?
Are you alright?
Yes.
He's fucking annoyed. Rightfully so. What? And then notice she's recording. What are you doing that for? Because he knows she's a piece of shit too. Because he knows just people are just fucking out to do shit like that. Shout out Out of Power. How do guys like that fall off and go to hardcore rugs? I understand party rugs like coke, sexual weed, but crystal, crack, how you get that low, especially being him? By being that low. And here. Happens. And let's not pretend that it hasn't happened to millions of superstars.
Millions!
Throughout our lifetime. Because we have no lack of singers, actors, everybody that has allowed themselves to be taken out by some shit. Also a regional thing. Could be, you know. It could be he not even on none of that shit. And we calling it something else. You got guys like Joe Riggs, who not only did Nick fight in the cage, but beat up in the hospital too. Running around telling stories about how he's physically seen Nick blow meth. I don't know that's true. I just know some smash face fighters telling me that. I don't know that's true. I don't know what he's doing here. I know he's annoyed with her doing what she's doing. He knows she's making him look away, whether he's that way or not that way. He even smiled at the camera like, hi.
What's that for?
Are you alright?
Doing?
What's that for, you stupid bitch?
Nick.
What? What are you doing?
Are you okay?
Are you okay? She know he okay. She know exactly what he doing. If anybody knows what she's doing, what he's doing is her. Why you videotaping?
Nick.
What? What are you doing?
Are you okay?
What's that for?
Are you alright?
Yes.
This is very strange. Some people think he is lighting grass on fire, but to me, it appears he's lighting a stick of incense. The whole situation is just odd. For one,
he could be lighting an incense. I don't know where they're at. Maybe he told her to pull over the side of the road. Maybe he's pouring out some liquor. I don't know what it is. But why you filming the man? I know they canceled his fight, though. A couple of days after this video came out.
he's shirtless at night in front of a hibachi restaurant. And two, why is his girlfriend filming this video to begin with?
So how you know he didn't come out the restaurant, wanted to pay tribute, took a shirt off, I'm gonna get in the car, she gonna top me off, we gravy. Why does this have to be some controversial shit? I don't see him with a pipe in his hand, but he did lose his fight. And I don't want to be in denial. If the man's getting high, I'm hoping he gets help, because I don't see, I feel like, who was it that said it over here? I feel like JS. That guy was all good before he met them narcotics. Pete never said, "Candy Camera, you okay? Everything okay? Are you all right?" Child Jonathan, life bringing you rock bottom mentally, and then whatever circumstances you're surrounded by can add up to that bad equation, unfortunately. And he's sitting here throwing a fake wave and a fake smile at her like, "You silly bitch, why you got me on camera?" Because nowadays it ain't just as easy as, okay, she got a video of me. Nah, now you be alive.
Did he go missing and she tracked him down and found him on the side of the road doing this? Why did she post that statement about addiction? Does Nick Diaz have a drug problem? The whole situation is just very strange to say the least. Also, why post this publicly? I get maybe there's something behind the scenes that Nick is dealing with that we don't know about and she's trying to expose it to force Nick to get help, but it just seems like this does more harm than good. It would have probably been best to not show the public Nick Diaz acting in this manner with little less than 1 month until UFC 310, where Nick Diaz is set to face
he would have been fighting this weekend. He would have been fighting Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque's record 22-10. Nick's record 26-11-0. Vicente 22-10-1. Again, records don't mean shit in mixed martial arts. Boxing, you have one of two ways of this ending. You go the distance and you take the most shots in the head, or you get knocked out. That's how you win in boxing, period. Mixed martial arts, and that's how you lose in boxing, period. In mixed martial arts, many ways to win, many ways to lose. You get knocked the fuck out with a punch, head kick, elbow, knee, leg kicks. I could take your legs from under you. I could give you an arm bar. I could choke you. There's just too many ways to lose. So miss me with the records. Some of the greatest fighters of all time have fucked up records. Only one has a perfect record. Last fight, losses for both of them. United States fighters, Vicente is 5'11", Nick is 6'1", 170 and 185. Well, what weight were they going to fight at? They were going to fight at 170? So Nick was just going to miss weight drastically? Why does it say 185 pounds? Because they probably cut it because of that. Like, he probably didn't start cutting weight early. I don't know what happened.
Luque. A lot of people are now questioning not only Nick's health, but his mental health as well. And I can't...
Mind you, this is after having 2 fights in like 10 years. I'm not excited to see him back. I had the same thrill, the same shit that I got for Tyson. Like, you hope that they got something left to do it with. Sometimes they don't.
If you were to be walking down the street and you didn't know who Nick Diaz was, you would think you were witnessing the local crackhead having an episode. Anyways, what addiction could Nick Diaz's girlfriend be referring to? It is no secret that Nick and his brother Nate love to partake in the devil's lettuce from time to time, but I highly doubt she's referring to marijuana in this post. And the whole thing is just very cryptic and weird. I remember when Nick got suspended for 5 years for having marijuana in his system, which is bullshit by the way. His social media was filled with him at multiple clubs constantly. Could he have developed a bad habit hanging around these places and people? Who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. I imagine not being able to compete in MMA and being banned for over 5 years may have drove him to this lifestyle. Luckily, fighters don't have to worry about being banned for smoking marijuana anymore. This harsh sentence was just ridiculous and robbed Nick of getting to fight more in his prime. It still bothers me to this day that Nick had to deal with such a bullshit decision. After seeing this video posted by Nick's girlfriend, I
think it disenchanted him with the game. He didn't give a shit anymore after that. Like, he was already on some, I fight because this is what I do to make a living.
I did some research to see if I could find anyone else talking about Nick having any drug problems. And I stumbled across a podcast that happened back in May of this year, the Red Hawk Recap podcast, which is run by
first of all, I already don't like these guys. I like Sugar Sean as a fighter, you know what I'm saying? I hate the way he took his last loss. I think he took his loss like a straight punk, you know? And I think his trainers are just as punk as him when it comes to that. You know what I mean? And I this is where Joe Riggs went on the podcast and was talking about what Nick Diaz is on. I don't know Nick Diaz to be no rug addict. I don't. But this is what I wanted to get to. You know? I don't know Nick Diaz to be no rug addict. I know him to be anti-hard drugs. Right? But I also know he been partying his ass off. He been drinking since that whole round of shit. I don't know him to be no rug addict. But this is what's been saying, that they're using the fight that didn't happen as an excuse to talk about this. So let's see what Joe Riggs got to say. But I'm already looking at the platform that it comes from. These guys couldn't even be honest about their last loss against Marab. I expect them to, have an honest platform. Nah, I don't know.
Welch. While talking about Nick's upcoming fight that had just been announced against Luque, Joe Riggs makes mention of an addiction that Nick had been dealing with and that he personally was there and witnessed. He also mentions that there are rumors that Nick has no money. Here's the video. Take a look.
No, I know some personal
so why
things.
You sitting there wearing your fucking Beetlejuice socks, Joe Riggs, telling somebody else's business like that? If that is the truth. Sounds like sour grapes to me, bro. Sounds like whole talk.
No, I know. I know some personal things about Nick right now. I don't know how this is possible.
Bad?
Yeah. Like he just stopped doing. He was addicted.
Like, do we know, or do we just?
Yeah,
is it just?
I mean, you see,
We don't know that.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
How do you do?
See, if you're gonna, that's why. Again, I told you guys 1,000 times. The twins, they come on this show, they give their side. I offer the other side the opportunity. The people that don't want to hear that shit, that are part of this story, I give them the opportunity to have the platform too, right? But they don't want to come on here and talk. They want to tell me behind the scenes, but they don't want to come out here and talk. And my thing is, I can't bring what you tell me behind the scenes up here, because then I look like these assholes. And I don't have where I got the information, a source. I don't got nothing. And they're sitting here. Listen to all of the things that they cut out of this conversation. You're barely getting words in here because they're censoring it so hard. Listen.
Bad?
Yeah. Like he just stopped doing. He was addicted.
Like, do we know, or do we just?
Yeah,
is it just?
I mean, you see,
We don't know that.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
How do
It's
you
a
do?
whole. And we don't hear shit they talking about. So I don't give a shit about what story you think you got. You're not giving me no sources. Could it be true? Yes. But it could also be bullshit. I ain't seen it.
And so
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
so
okay.
Yeah.
We don't know that's true.
I was there.
You smoked it?
You was there. He was there, yeah. He was smoking with him. What you doing there then? Huh? What you on the Enterprise for too yourself? Joe Riggs? What are you doing there? Imagine 2 fights in 10 years. Probably time doesn't forgive anyone. When the morale being suspended over something that is then allowed is a combination. And on top of that, everybody was on testosterone replacement therapy, legal steroids at the time, at the same time. And they were getting what? 3-4 months, 6 months suspension, 3 months suspension? Bullshit. Shout out Vernon. That 5-year suspension was too long. Shouldn't even existed.
Now, I want to start this off by saying we have to take this with a grain of salt. Remember, Joe Riggs and Nick Diaz both had a brawl at
Not only did he beat him, fight him in the cage, but he beat him in the fucking hospital too. That's a great story.
Joe Riggs and Nick Diaz both had a brawl at a freaking hospital back in the day, so he might not be the most trustworthy when talking about Nick. But anyways, the way Joe Riggs talks about this supposed addiction makes it sound like a hard substance, definitely not marijuana. Whatever substance it is, if true, had allegedly drained Nick's bank account, according to Riggs.
I didn't hear it right from his mouth. I mean, heard from...
So it could be a rumor.
If it's not, it's because Nick doesn't have any money, nothing. He has nothing. And that's sad.
Which could explain why Nick is coming back to fight all of a sudden. If it's true, and he needs...
And if Nick doesn't have any money, guess what? He'll never be homeless. You could believe that. Okay? May he resent baby brother a little bit? Probably in the slightest. But he's never going to be homeless, bro. Nick could go broke tomorrow. He's going to be all right. He's going to be all right. They got sponsorships. They got money. And his brother's fucking filthy rich.
To take this fight because of money issues, then this may end up looking like a disaster once Nick is in the cage. I really hope this is all just rumors and we get to see at least a glimpse of the old Diaz in action. But honestly, this may end up looking worse than the Robbie fight. Even Nick's long...
I'm kind of getting tired of having hope and watching old fighters bring it back. And I don't want it for them. So I don't want to see it no more.
Gracie is against him fighting Luque. He mentioned this in an interview with Submission Radio.
Gotta ask, so what led to this return? I know last time you came on with us, you told us that Nick wasn't in great health and kind of had to take that fight with Robbie Lawler. What led to this fight coming together now?
I'm really not involved in that fight. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. That wasn't my idea. It wasn't a fight I would have had, like if I was advising Nick, I wouldn't have advised him to do that fight. It's in Abu Dhabi. I would advise to go fight overseas at this point.
And I agree, but I feel like money. I feel like Nick is like Mike. Like, I got to get back in the adventure. What else can I do? What else I'm going to do? What do I do? This is what I do. Birds fly, fish swim, I scrap.
Luca is a very tough guy. Nick is a tough guy, but it doesn't make that much sense for me where Nick is at in his career. And I don't know. It's not the fight I would have made. And I don't even know what's going on with that fight, to be honest with you. I spoke to Nick today a little bit, and I don't have any plans for that fight, to be honest with you. I don't even know.
Now, Caesar has mentioned that he will not be training Nick for this fight and didn't really elaborate why. It's interesting that Caesar, who has trained Nick all these years, is not involved in his return. Now, maybe Nick left on his own accord and Caesar is just salty and that's why he's saying all of this. Or maybe he knows something we don't and didn't want to support Nick in this condition entering back into the cage. Just a really strange situation all around. And if you thought in this condition entering back into the cage.
Yancy Medeiros, Crown Gracie, this guy's father was a legend, man. This guy's father was a legend, probably the greatest Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist of his time. His father was Rickson Gracie. It's Crown Gracie. Nate Diaz, Caesar Gracie. Nate Diaz, Caesar Gracie, Nick Diaz, Yancy Medeiros.
Just a really strange situation all around. And if you thought that was bad, it gets worse. Nick has also allegedly been scamming his customers on Cameo recently. There have been multiple reviews recently on Nick's Cameo profile calling out Nick for scamming them. Let me just read some of them out to you. Scam. Nick Diaz is a scammer. Sent a 3-second black video with static in the back. What a loser. Don't go on this website if you don't want to do it and just use people for their money. Weirdo tried to do something nice for a loved one and spent way too much money on this weirdo man. Are you kidding me? A 3-second video of a black screen and talking in the background? Get off the drugs, Nick. Kids look up to you. What a disgrace. Video for a 14-year-old birthday to a kid who absolutely idolizes you, and this is what you give? Absolute ripoff. A real scam. They sent me a 3-second video with a black screen. I spent $229 on a 3-second video with a black screen.
My shit is, how many times can you do that before the app shuts you down? You know what I'm saying? They just let you scam everybody all day long? I don't know.
Please let no one else fall for this scam. What is going on here? These reviews are recent, as early as November 3rd. Why is Nick doing this? It's not like he doesn't know how to properly use Cameo. If you scroll to his older reviews, people give him good reviews. It just seems recently this behavior has begun to show. Is he just not caring and submitting whatever to his customers with no care in the world? Or is this guy so messed up he's unable to actually fulfill these requests? I mean, how hard could doing these videos be? Most of the time, it's just wishing someone's son a happy birthday, and the fact Nick can't even take 5 minutes of his time to properly do that is very worrisome. These people are paying over $200 for these videos, and it's just sad to imagine someone's son being shown a personal video from Nick Diaz only to witness some black screen with an incoherent noise in the background. Not a good look at all. I really hope these people get some sort of refund for this, or Nick can redo the videos properly for them. Over $200 for a video just seems outrageous, especially when you get nothing but a 3-second black screen in return. Again, this is all recent, so something must be up with him. I don't know what's going on. You would think this would be a hard thing to mess up, so it just confuses me why this is even happening. This combined with what Nick's girlfriend posted on her Instagram story and what Joe Riggs mentioned on Tim Welch's podcast gives me great concerns, not only for his personal life, but also of what Nick will look like going into this upcoming fight. Nick hasn't fought in 3 years and hasn't won a fight since 2011 against BJ Penn. I also have to mention, he looked horrendous.
Now, mind you, I guess this fight was still on when Buddy made this video. Shout out Jonathan Shaw. I probably should have asked earlier, but is this guy speaking in this video legit? Don't know him, bro.
In his last fight, he was matched against an old.
He ain't said no bullshit though. You know what I'm saying? He ain't said nothing out of pocket that raised a red flag with me yet.
To retire Robbie Lawler and gave up in the 3rd round. He looked slow and out of shape.
He gave up. He looked slow, out of shape. He looked
2011 against BJ Penn. This cast gives me great concerns, not only for his personal life, but also of what Nick will look like going into this upcoming fight. Nick hasn't fought in 3 years and hasn't won a fight since 2011 against BJ Penn. I also have to mention, he looked horrendous in his last fight. He was matched against an old, ready to retire Robbie Lawler and gave up in the 3rd round. He looked slow and out of shape. He didn't appear to want to even be in there, if I'm being honest. Just seemed like he needed the money and didn't take the fight seriously. Many thought, myself included, that this would be the last time we would see Nick Diaz compete in MMA. I'm very worried for him in this fight. Yes, Luque is on a bit of a decline, but the man still has power, and I hate to see Nick take significant damage, especially if he's dealing with some sort of alleged substance abuse issues. Nick took a lot of punishment over the course of his career. He really doesn't need any more, especially against a guy that hits as hard as Luque.
Yeah, Luque,
Nick Diaz is a legend. He has nothing left to prove. His fight with Paul Daly back in Strikeforce is one of the greatest.
There it is, Paul fucking Daly. Nobody can give me that answer. Paul Daly, British kid. That shit right there was bananas. Who remembers that fight? That shit might as well have been boxing. And Nick Diaz's career might as well have been boxing. What he'd do is he'd beat the shit out of you with his hands till you crumble. And then when he crumble, he'd take your arm from you, choke you or some shit. You know what I'm saying? That Paul Daly fight, that was puro putazos.
His fight with Paul Daly back in Strikeforce is one of the greatest one-round fights you will ever see. It's just seriously sad if all these rumors are true.
That was a one-round fight, just thinking back on it now.
I hope Nick Diaz can get the help he needs and live a happy and fulfilling life outside of MMA. Is Nick dealing with some sort of alleged drug abuse issues, or is everything being taken out of context? Let me know in the comments.
All right, so I came into this to try to figure out what we can hear about him being, you know, having a problem. And the only thing I've seen so far is some broad that I know is already taking advantage of him because she's taking videos of him and putting them up, posting them, you know what I mean? Her word on some Instagram shit, and Joe Riggs. Them the only two people I hear talking about this. Yeah, so shout out this dude, again, the MMA Fish. Very new channel, very low sub count. So we'll show him some love because I wasn't mad at that. Did he jump on it? He jumped on it right on time. The way he acting kind of looked meth or something like that. Right, but we only got that one video, right? Where he looked frustrated. I mean, he looked like he's trying to light something on fire, right? He's already awkward ass Nick Diaz. Then he got a girl videotaping him and annoying him already. So all of these things I'm looking at in compound, and yeah, that shit would look methish. But that's all we got. That video and Joe Riggs' story. And that shit, I don't know how much weight that shit holds for me. And every day I believe less and less, and I was already a cynic, so motherfuckers is out here lying. You got AI videos getting 24,000 likes an hour and shit. Sitting here fighting. Shout out Velez. I seen an interview at some gas station in Vegas and he was looking like that. Quite possible. Let's look it up. I put in Nick Diaz's addiction. See, they're all 3 weeks ago, which is why I don't want them, because they're all going off just that video. Let's see what Mayhem Miller had to say about it. Now, Mayhem had a mental break, and I believe addiction problems that we saw unfold on the screen. Mayhem is also a fighter that many years ago when Jake Shields won a fight, him in the scrap pack, Nick, Nate, Gilbert were in the cage, and Mayhem came in and asked for a rematch to Jake Shields, and that shit turned into a big-ass brawl. So they've always had beef, Mayhem and the Diaz brothers. Mayhem has pulled himself out of a problem. He was looking bad. I was having the same thoughts about Mayhem a bunch of years back that I'm having about Nick right now.
Your friend Nick Diaz, he was initially supposed to be on the card.
Listen here, we all saw what we saw, you know what I mean? And I won't...
Okay, we saw what we saw. What the fuck did we see, man? We saw an erratic Nick Diaz. Okay.
Well, on it too bad, you know, but I saw, you know what I mean? And I won't dwell on it too bad, you know, but I think that people in Nick's life need to gather around. Anybody who ever made some money off him needs to come circle around and help this guy out.
Ain't that the truth? Anybody that ever made some money off of him.
You know, we had our beef, whatever, since we were kids, but that's not that doesn't stop me from extending a helping hand to this guy if he needs it. And you know, if he's not ready to take a helping hand, y'all need to keep on him. You know, the people close to him, his brother, his family, his friends, all you guys that made money off him need to go ahead, and he needs you now. He needs to circle back. You know, and that's not talking bad on him. It's just it's a tough sport we're in, and it's easy to get tripped up in the wrong things. Super easy. It's even harder to come up out of that. So, you know, my advice is not for him. It's for the people around him to help him get to a better place in his life.
Don't get it fucked up. Mayhem went through it and got out of it.
Life.
But that's really nice of you to extend the helping hand if he wants it.
Shit, I wish somebody would have done it for me earlier. Yeah. And they did, and I finally took the help, and now my life keeps getting better and better.
Shout out Austin G. Mayhem thick now. Shout out Mayhem. I'm glad, man, because there was a time that I felt the same way, or worse. He was looking worse than Nick is looking right now. Right now, I'm not seeing no proof Nick is, addicted to anything. I say this. I continue to say this. We don't know what Nick is going through right now. Right? It's mad rumors, mad talking out there. He's going through something. We don't know what it is. Do I hope he gets through it? Same way Mayhem did? Yes.
I know you might have touched on it real quickly with the rigs, but Nick Diaz is out of his fight versus Vincente Luque. And it was recently reported that he's on some pretty heavy...
Did you see the interview with him in the gas station?
Yes, I did.
That was hard to watch.
No, I didn't see it.
It was
Is it pretty new?
Let me see this.
I mean, he looks like a
It's fucking
crackhead.
sad. Well, I was telling
You said he looked like a crackhead. Okay, let me look at this video.
And I bump into none other than Nick Diaz. What's up, brother?
What's up? I'm out here.
Such a good guy. Just a regular, normal guy.
Yeah, just a
Pleasant.
regular fucking normal guy. Not like you that just finds famous people and want to be like, this is my guy Nick Diaz. He's just a regular, normal guy. Out of here.
We're having a good time kicking around.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
He don't look good. He don't look good. You know what I mean? But he looks like awkward Nick Diaz, bro. He don't look good. But I mean, this guy looks like a jerk off too.
Move around.
His behavior is his behavior. Am I wrong? Am I seeing an extra? Maybe he looks gaunt. Maybe he looks thin. Maybe everybody's looking for crack in him. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's high right now on it. You know, but his behavior don't look different.
Boy found me. He found me out here. You know. I mean, I was half dead when he found me. I was, you know, born to make a bitch of a mother. And I didn't, you know, have much going on. He took me on in, and you know, here we are. So
that's a whole lot more than what happened, but it makes me sound awesome, so I'll go with it. What else did I do?
There you go. He's telling a story about his boy. He talking like he normally do, awkward as he normally is. But then you got fucking rainbow-headed fucking people like Dickhead, what's his name? Face, don't know how to take a loss. What's his name? Calling him a crackhead. I don't know, man.
And then I was, you know, I had a camera forced on me the first time, and I couldn't get out of it. And then the second time, same happened. I know, so here we are, you know.
Yeah, listen, I mean, you guys out there, you know that I have not been doing interviews for a while, but he's so humble. He's such a good dude. I had to just grab him because I'm in awe of the fact that you're such a regular guy, and that's
He don't like cameras. He don't like the media. He don't like being sociable. He don't like nothing. He don't like shit. What am I seeing different here? Is he scratching? Huh? Is he offering dome in the fucking gas station? Like, what are we talking about, bro?
your greatness.
I will do that.
Thank you. You know what the cool thing is? Half the people in the store know it's you, the great Nick Diaz, and the other half don't. And that's what's so amazing, because you just blend in, and like you're not like walking in like, hey man, look who's here, you know? I love that.
You watch the fights.
Of course.
And you know it's good.
Oh, hells yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for jumping on here, brother.
Hey, don't blow my cover.
Don't blow my cover. It's just the same old. Did he ask to get cornered? Like, who knows? This is the same old Nick Diaz to me, bro. Same old Nick Diaz. Got a cool Louis Vuitton coat on. Got a shitty hat on. Skin look yellow. He's looking thin. He was training for a fight. Could he be getting lit? Could he be an addict? Sure. This ain't gonna prove it to me. You gotta come with more than that.
It's our secret. God bless you, bro.
See?
God
Being a
bless.
good sport, bro. I don't see nothing crazy there. He just as awkward as he always is. So let's go back to these bowl smokers sitting here crying about what's going on with Nick when Nick is minding his fucking business.
In the gas station?
Yes, I did.
That was hard to watch.
No, I didn't see it.
It was
okay. And
what's this supposed to be, Aljo, and this supposed to be Murad? Y'all are disrespectful. I hope y'all get slapped every time somebody see y'all. I just hated the way y'all took that loss. Y'all both took that loss like a couple of whores.
Recently reported that he's on some pretty heavy...
Did you see the interview with him in the gas station?
Yes, I did.
That was hard to watch.
No, I didn't see it.
It was
pretty new?
I mean, he looks like a
It's
crackhead.
fucking sad. Well, I was telling Joe, I was like, dude, you think he had wars in the octagon? Imagine how many thousands of wars he's had in the gym, sparring
pro boxers
3 times a week, just beating each other's fucking head in.
That's sad. That's fucking.
Hopefully he can beat it, because that is a fucking living legend.
Yeah,
hopefully he could beat what jacket did y'all put on this dude? What did you convince everybody that he did, bro? When you cut weight, you definitely look like that.
Is that something where you like?
Weight? He might have started cutting weight. Yeah, who knows? Maybe he went left. But I still ain't seen nothing that say the dude's on meth, man, or on anything other than what he's normally on. I ain't seen no crazy Nick Diaz behavior. I'm bugging? Y'all tell me if I'm bugging. But these motherfuckers is crying crisis right here off of the words of fucking Joe Riggs.
Hopefully he can beat it, because that is a fucking living legend.
Hopefully he could beat it.
Yeah, is that something where you like want almost the UFC to step in and be like, get him some help?
Dude,
because he won't help himself at that point?
The addicts aren't gonna. They need to make that decision themselves. I feel like, unless you literally pick him up off the streets, take him somewhere like.
But it seems like he's at that point where you need to just pick him up off the streets. You've seen the video.
Why? Why does it seem like he's at that point? You seen him on the street, derelict, outside, laying on the floor? These guys are talking out of their fucking ass hat. They said, unfortunately, we live in a society always trying to come up with answers while looking for the worst in someone. It's gonna be hard to find a video who genuinely cares about Nick. Yeah, these guys are fucking jerk-offs. Addicts ain't gonna do it themselves. Somebody gotta pick them up and take them off the street. He said, isn't he at that point already? What the fuck do y'all know? You saw the same video we just saw. Did that look like the same awkward Nate Diaz that you see talking any other time? Forget what he looked like. Did he talk differently? No, man. And I still ain't seen him do no math. You know what I mean?
Unless you literally pick him up off the streets, take him somewhere like.
But it seems like he's at that point where you need to just pick him up off the streets. You've seen the video circulating.
You know Nate's trying.
Or do you?
I'm sure, yeah.
Do you like, if you're a family member, do you be like, get out?
You know Nate's trying. Why? Why we know that? Maybe Nate's not trying. Y'all just talking like y'all know what the fuck y'all talking about.
7 grams of mushrooms. And
at that point where you need to just pick him up off the streets. You've seen the video circulating.
You know Nate's
trying. See, he's at the point where you gotta drag him off the street. You've seen the videos circulating. What videos, pendejo Teo, with your little man bun? What videos, huh? The video that we just saw of him talking like he always talks, looking thin and looking, who knows what kind of lighting they got in that place? We saw him lighting something on the floor. We didn't see him putting nothing to his lips. We saw his bitch sitting there videotaping him to put him on blast. What are we talking about? What videos are circulating that these two mamabichos on the bottom are so concerned about?
But it seems like he's at that point where you need to just pick him up off the streets. You've seen the video circulating.
You know Nate's trying.
Or do you?
You've seen the video circulating? Shut the fuck.
I'm sure, yeah.
Do you like, if you're a family member, do you be like, get 7 grams of mushrooms and just have him do those mushrooms and just have?
I don't know if you want to give
crazy experience to where it's like, oh fuck, they come out of it.
What you think? You think Nick ain't never done 7 grams of mushrooms? You funny glasses, motherfucker.
When they're that heavy into drugs, I mean, remember Paul Chek, he recommends that.
Yeah, but you also worry about schizophrenia in that point, like.
Well, if he's not schizo.
You don't know. That could induce anything.
That could, doing those kinds of drugs
can make you schizo.
What kind of drugs you doing? Pros, you professional?
I don't know.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Let me chat.
That's why all those crackheads walking around the fucking.
It's alleged that he's been doing the METH.
Yeah.
I don't like that guy with the fucking bun, bro. I don't give a fuck about that guy. That dude. I mean, we saw mad other videos of him doing, interviews, and he's an awkward guy. He doesn't express himself well. It's not easy for him. It's very awkward. So the one video that they're saying he's high, to me, looks like all the other videos we've seen tonight, which is him being awkward. It's just how he is. If you're going to say it, show proof. Charles Rodada, I don't know what his normal is, but if this is his normal, he's obviously just not comfortable with media interviews and having all eyes on him. Never has been. He just want to fight. If he could fight and make the money he make to fight and not be on camera, he would. It's just who he is. I'm not a fan of these guys.
Yeah, I don't think.
Listen, I gave these guys the benefit of the doubt until they took that Marab loss like a couple of hoes and just was making up shit after that and saying, no, we won, you lost. Like, that's just, you're the weakest punk bitch ever. Oh, I'll fight you, Shy. Okay, fight this bullet. I'm not gonna fight no MMA fighters.
Schizophrenia and psychedelic mushrooms.
They're actually researching the mushrooms, but don't research if this dude's on METH or not. Like, come on, man. I just find exaggerated accounts of Nick Diaz being high, because I don't see nothing here. Is it possible? Yes. This strung out shit that everybody's talking about, I ain't seen him do it. We just watched 2 of the videos in question. The gas station video, that just looks like regular old awkward Nick Diaz. Just as awkward as an interview with him and Hawani, just as awkward as an interview with him in a cage, just as awkward with an interview with him at a media day, same old shit. Right? Trying to be the good guy, trying to give you your soundbite. So, I ain't seen shit yet. I will say maybe he's not fight ready. Maybe, whatever could have happened. And maybe he has an addiction. That is quite possible. But you didn't prove it to me with what you showed me today. Or what I ran into, what I saw. And nobody is saying that there's something else for me to look at that's going to prove it more to me. I can't, with people like this diagnosing and trying to act like doctors when they have zero medicine knowledge. Just a couple of jerk-offs diagnosing Nick Diaz. If he was everything these people were throwing on him, the police would have arrested him at some point. And TMZ will be all over it in the society we live in. Yeah, he's already at the point of, we got to pick him off the street and take him to rehab. Well, where he at on the street, bitch? Where we finding Nick at? On the street. What, on his girlfriend's Instagram? In a video at a gas station? I feel like people just blow shit up. I've been here hours, so anybody could just send me the information and tell me, hey, here it is. But I don't see it. Nate ain't talk about it. Other fighters ain't talk about it. Joe Riggs, the guy that he beat up in the cage and the guy that he beat up in the fucking hospital. Miss me with the bullshit. I do want to look up the Ronda Rousey shit, though. Pray for Nick Diaz. Rumors of addiction and his return. Like, I see nothing else, y'all. Nothing else. So, again, I'm calling bullshit on the Nick Diaz's Method Man. And he's just the same old tricky in the mental Nick Diaz that I've known for the last 25, 30 years. No difference. Whatever it's been, 15, 20, since he's been in the game. Nick Diaz's friend talks about his crazy stalker. Maybe he's talking about this lady.
I'm going to go on a 2-minute rant right now. So the reason why I haven't put out Nick Diaz footage is because obviously Nick doesn't appear to be doing so well. I've spoken to him 2 weeks ago and, things don't look good, right? But what really chapped my asshole and really made me want to put out this video was the video that his, whatever you want to call her, put out of him lighting whatever on fire, and it infuriated me. I texted her, said, did you put this out there? And she said, yes. Why would you do that? There's only one motive you would do something like that, and that's just to humiliate, make somebody look like a fool. That's not cool. You don't do that to somebody you care about. That is the ultimate shitbag move. And anybody who puts out content like that, humiliating other people, especially people that you love, you are a full-blown period. End of story. Anyways, well, he did this to me, and he did that to me, and he did that to me, and he did this to me. Then leave the relationship, you mamaluke. But you won't, because I said to Nick when we were at the Russian bathhouse one day, he's like, Stevie, I can't shake this broad, bro.
That's why I've been drinking so much lately. Like, I don't need to drink like that. I've been drinking like that because, fuck, I can't get away from her. I'm just stuck, and I gotta go deal with people too. And her, so I can't stand her when I'm sober around people. I'm like freaking out.
I can't shake her. She should have been a Navy SEAL, dude. She should have been on a Navy SEAL mission. She's like a bloodhound. Okay, she'll be on you like stink on a
Nick crazy as shit. He's shitting on his broad to do with the lens of the camera right in his face.
Bro, she'll catch your scent and she will never leave. I'm hostage, bro. I said, Nikki, I always knew she was a stage 5 clinger, but she's showing you what a stage 6 looks like. And she is certainly a stage 6 clinger, bro. And they're in a class all of their own. I'm just, I'm going to start pumping out some more stuff. It's been difficult because I have other projects going on. I have another one of my films it's going to be in a theater next month in December. Again, I'll put some stuff out, but that video, that
yeah, but you didn't tell me shit, but she's a piece of shit. So that means that video could have been from whenever? Was it a story? Was it live? What's happening?
Fucking moron put out of him. Just really, I always defended her too, and that's the part that irritates me. I always said she had his better interest.
Nah.
And then putting out a video like that, I felt like I was completely duped.
And don't get it fucked up,
because
just like there's some Cassies that can't get away from Diddy's, there's some men that can't get away from their chicks. There's some chicks that you can't shake.
Somebody who would do something like that will never have anybody's better interest, ever.
But he didn't give no, he's saying, oh, it doesn't look good, but he didn't give no clarity on nothing.
So, I'm done with my rant. Thank you. Some
that
content
rant wasn't worth shit, bro. She's definitely a toxic ass girl, and yeah, he did call her on her shit. Nobody's proven to me something wrong with Nick Diaz today. Is he in fighting shape? Probably not. That's probably why they cut the fight. That's just as plausible as him being addicted to something. Hope that he's not addicted to them? Yeah, I hope not too. I just feel like there's no proof out there and everybody's throwing that jacket on him. Why? Because we saw him lighting some shit on fire and some broad posted it. Why? Because we saw him talking to some dude under some bad lighting and he's looking skinny, but he's just as awkward as he's always been. Oh, shit. 7 years ago, Nick Diaz blames Ronda Rousey for him drinking alcohol.
I just started drinking. I didn't drink my whole 20s. Did not have one fucking drink.
Wow.
Yeah, it didn't sit right with me when I was back. When I started training, I go out and try to have some drinks. It always killed my game, or I ended up sick after 2 drinks, and I wouldn't get drunk. It just didn't sit right with me. So I was, I don't have time to fool around with this. I just knocked it off, and I didn't have any temptation to want to drink. I was like, drinking's bad for you. It makes me feel like shit.
Yeah.
I have to train tomorrow.
Yeah.
So and I have a fight coming up always. So I didn't drink till I met Ronda.
Till I met Ronda. There it is.
Rousey came to my house and she was like, motherfucker, you need to loosen up. Right. She was like, she put a bottle of tequila in front of me, boom, slid it over on the table. She's like, time for you to have a shot. I'm like, oh, all right. All right, I'll get drunk with you.
So Ronda, not only did you destroy your own career in life, you destroyed Nick's career at the same time. Goddamn. Allegedly.
So, she's a bad influence.
Oh, yeah, no, she's great. I mean, who the fuck doesn't drink?
No, who knew? Who knew, though? That would lead to where, supposedly where everybody putting him. I don't know him to be no rug addict, man.
Her 20s. Like, come on. And
well, yeah,
me, I didn't drink my whole 20s. I was 30 by this time. No,
That's
I was 29.
really disciplined.
I was 29. Yeah, but there's no temptation when there's no understanding. You see what I mean? So I had to fight. There's basically, I don't want to get drunk and get punched tomorrow. I want to go not get drunk and get punched tomorrow. That would probably be better. So it's just simple. I didn't drink. People don't understand. I'm like, I'm like, look, when I say 3 to 5 fights a fucking year, I mean it. Yeah. I mean 3 to 5 fucking baddest motherfuckers that you've ever heard of in your life that will beat you to the fucking ground. You're going to fight them.
Yep. He went on a run, 3 to 5 fights a year. It's a lot on the mental, a lot on the body, just a lot. Ronda Rousey started all this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the story of the night for me. Ronda Rousey started all this shit, and I don't see no proof that Nick Diaz is any kind of rug addict. When I first saw him fighting, it was important to me that a guy named Diaz and a guy named Sanchez was fighting each other in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? I thought those were important times and shit. They were pioneers of the sport, real talk. I'll tell you what Nick Diaz needs, man. You want to really know the truth of what Nick Diaz needs? He needs a wife and a child to occupy his time and his fucking love, because nothing else gonna do it. Chicks like the one that he been trying to escape from ain't gonna do it. The fight game ain't gonna do it. Nothing's gonna do it for him. He needs somebody that completely engulfs him in their softness. And to me, that would be a daughter. Now I know Nate has children. I don't know that he has, I believe he has daughters. So, I think that's something that Nick probably needs. He needs to fix himself, then he can do that. But here's my thing, Velez. I agree. But we don't even know if he needs to fix himself, because what did you see different than a normal Nick Diaz today? Dog. I feel like everybody's screaming smoke and fire, and I don't see it. I saw him lighting some shit on in the sidewalk. I could be outside trying to maybe there's somebody inside I'm gonna sing happy birthday to. I'm trying to light their candles, and I'm gonna run inside with put the candles in the cupcake. I'm trying to light the candle, or maybe, you know, I'm trying not to be seen. I could have been doing but mind you, it looks weirder than that. I get it, but we ain't see him smoking nothing. So yes, he needs to fix himself. But here's what you gotta understand: if he's not addicted to rugs right now, then there's no fixing himself from what he is. And that family is going to do that for him. I think. It's the only thing. I think it's the only thing that can do it for him. But if he is getting high, and he is METHOD, got me drinking OE all night in the MPV, if he is getting lit, he's Method Man in it, then yes, I agree. He needs to fix himself up, and then he can do that. But nobody's proven to me that this dude has a drug problem. Nobody. And it was always gonna feel weird to me anyways. Nick Diaz, he never lived that life. He was never about that shit. We know that. We saw it. And when things went left and he started drinking a lot of alcohol, we saw that. He didn't hide that shit. So if something's going on with him now that has to do with addiction, you know, hopefully he gets through it. But I'm saying nobody proved to me that that's the case right now. Nobody. I think he needs somebody's baby, somebody from a good woman, that's some baby that's gonna soften him the fuck up and be the only shit he could trust, the only thing he could trust. I was thinking I was gonna come and see mad accounts of him getting lit somewhere, hear mad stories, see mad videos. The only thing I saw was the video of a obnoxious woman videotaping him doing who knows what. He had the wherewithal to know exactly what she was doing it, why she was doing it, laugh it off, all of that shit. He just as awkward as he always is. I saw another video of him in a gas station being just Nick Diaz. He ain't look good. Sometimes he don't look good. I've seen him look bad before. They didn't say he was on drugs then. They was calling him an alcoholic. All right? But those are the two things I've seen, and none of that shit is proof to me that Nick Diaz has some problem that everybody's talking about. And if he does, I hope he gets help. But y'all ain't proved it to me yet. I'm about 90% sure he on that shit, though. All right, cool, Velez. You could be 90% sure, right? Your 90% is based on all the shit that I just saw. And to me, none of that shit is damning. You don't think the long break affected him? Maybe seeing he wasn't the same, older, couldn't fight like before, led him to a depression and whatnot, was just hanging with the wrong crowd? That's quite possible. Nobody's proved that to me, Velez. You just wrote him a whole story. It's quite possible. Nobody's shown me that. I ain't see that from them two videos. Long break definitely affected him. Listen, but the long break didn't affect his life in that sense. His shit has always been a battle in here, bro. It got nothing to do with the fight game. The fight game is secondary. It's something that he feels he got to do. Whether it's for money or whether it's for, I'm Nick Diaz, this is what I do. But I still ain't seen nobody prove to me that this dude's a drug addict, bro. But listen, tampoco, I'm just saying I've seen it happen with people I know. I know. So have I. Doesn't mean it happened to him. Because nobody's proved to me that it happened to him yet. It's just what it is. Plus, UFC drug tests randomly. Yeah, at random. I don't know how long the Method Man stay in you. It just sounds crazy to me. And they got real close to the fight before they called the fight off. But Les 408 just gave him an alibi if he is doing rugs. Like, come on, man. Exactly, the mind is powerful, yeah. His mind was powerful enough for him to be straight edge in his 20s while fighting and getting money. Think about that, Velez. Just as fucking powerful as it is the mind disintegrating into chaos, it's just as powerful to do the other way. He did it. You're talking about a resilient human being. A dude that does not like to talk to cameras, but when he's comfortable, you see how eloquently he can talk. A dude that don't like to talk to regular people, but when he's comfortable, you see how he can talk, right? Well, this is the same dude that ran marathons and triathlons. This is a dude that I believe swam from Alcatraz to the mainland 4 times. That's a mentally strong dude, which is why I'm saying nobody has proven to me that mentally strong dude is a crackhead now. Because some bitch posted it? I don't know. So I hope he's all right. And people say, oh, but he has to be on meth. They canned the fight. And you saw the video. No, bro, you don't have to be shit. He could have been constipated this week and couldn't cut weight, and that's why he didn't get the fight. He could have been sick. He could have been, a million different things could have happened. He could have told the UFC, man, fuck you, I want more money. I'm just saying, my point is nobody's proven to me in anything that I've seen tonight, but nobody's proven it to me, bro. I don't see it. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not caping for him. I'm just saying, you ain't proven it to me yet. If you're going to call me a crackhead, motherfucker, y'all better have mad proof that I'm a fucking crackhead. Just be running around calling me out my motherfucking name. You know, putting jackets on me that ain't mine. I'm straight. Shout out JP. I hope if and whenever Nick speaks on all this one day and he isn't on anything, the society we live in discarding him will take the time to apologize. They will never do it, Jonathan. Thank you, and God bless your wishful thinking. They'll never do it. A lot of good people have been pushed. Facts. But they'll never apologize. They'll back up into the bushes like Homer Simpson. That's just what they do. Good people have been pushed over the edge and lost their life due to society instead of what they're accused of. Facts. The court of public opinion has told me, Sha'il, a dude that don't believe shit, that Nick Diaz is a drug addict. The guy I watched spend his 20s whipping ass, smoking weed, running triathlons, and swimming shark-infested waters from Alcatraz. You're going to need more than that fucking video that broad put up, and you're going to need more than him talking to some neckbeard dude. Nailed it down right now. You're going to need more than that, bro, to call me a crackhead. Interesting story, those two guys. Definitely a Hollywood story in what they've lived. They did good. They did good. And they did it with the, bottom common denominator, just scrapping.